Imagine an ordinary morning. You open your eyes, expecting to see your room, the ceiling above your head, and the familiar world around you. But something is wrong. You try to get out of bed, but instead you fall to the cold floor. You want to say something, but not a single human word comes out of your mouth. And suddenly, you've completely turned into a cockroach. A chair that was an ordinary piece of furniture yesterday now looks like a giant structure. The gap under the door turns into a huge passage, and your own room becomes an unknown territory. That's when you realize the scariest thing. You're not human anymore. You woke up as a cockroach, but the most amazing thing is that your new body doesn't work at all like a human one. And you'll notice the first change in a few seconds. The first thing that will change is your perception of the world around you. Human eyes allow you to see a clear image, but a cockroach's eyes are designed differently. He has complex faceted eyes made up of many small parts. Now, instead of the usual picture, you perceive the world as a huge number of moving elements. Every movement around you becomes more noticeable. You instantly notice an approaching object or any change nearby. But the strangest thing is that you no longer need to turn your head to notice the danger. Your body feels the world around you from almost all sides. You start moving around the room and realize one more thing. You've become incredibly fast. For a human, movement seems normal. But for a small cockroach, the whole world seems to be moving slower. The fall of an object, the movement of a person's foot, or the wave of a hand no longer look instantaneous. But there is one problem. Now every person around you looks like a real giant who can destroy you accidentally with one move. And this is where the real struggle for survival begins. You're trying to get used to your new body. Every step feels weird, because now you control 6 legs at the same time. But after a while, the brain adapts, and you start moving much more confidently. You quickly discover abilities you've never had before. You can fit through incredibly small holes. Where a person needs a door, a small gap is enough for you. You can move around walls and even the ceiling thanks to the special features of your paws. But the most important advantage is your stamina. Cockroaches are known for their ability to withstand conditions that would be fatal for many other creatures. They can go without food for a long time and are able to recover quickly from damage. However, there is something that will make you understand. Being a cockroach is not a superpower. Because your own home no longer seems safe to you. Because an ordinary draft can throw you aside, and a drop of water can turn into a whole lake. But the most terrible dangers are those that you didn't even notice before. If you have a cat, it can spot you in the blink of an eye. You are not a human being to her. You're just a small, fast-moving creature with a hunting instinct. One poor strike and it could all be over. If a dog lives at home, it is likely to be interested in an unfamiliar insect. One curious sniff or an accidental step of a huge paw can be fatal. What was an ordinary house yesterday has become a place where every minute can be the last. But the most terrifying ordeal awaits you is not outside at all. It gradually begins in your own mind. The most interesting part of this experiment is not the body and your mind. Imagine that your memory, thoughts, and personality have remained the same. You still remember your family, friends, favorite places, and your past life. But the world around you no longer perceives you as a human being. You can talk, you can explain who you are to everyone around you. You're just an ordinary cockroach. Gradually, your brain begins to adapt to a new lifestyle. You think less about human problems and focus more on simple things. Where to find food, where to hide, and how to avoid danger. And a terrible thought appears. What if, after months, you start to forget that you were ever human? A month passes. You already know your new life perfectly. You know every corner of the room. You know where to sleep, where to eat, where to just sit. You are no longer afraid of the vast world around you. But sometimes at night, when everything gets quiet, you remember the past. You remember walking on 2 legs, the way he talked, how he looked at the world through human eyes. And then the main question arises, which is more important, your body or your mind? If you still have a human personality inside you, are you still human? Or does the shape of your body completely change who you are? So if one day you wake up as a cockroach, it won't just be turning into a small insect. It will be a journey into a completely different world, a world where familiar things become huge, where every day turns into a test, where survival depends not on strength, but on the ability to adapt. And perhaps the most important thing that the life of a cockroach will teach you is that every creature on the planet sees reality in its own way. For humans, a cockroach is a small and insignificant creature. But for the cockroach himself, his world is huge, complex and full of dangers. Now imagine that. Could you survive one day in the body of a cockroach?